The Brain Truth with Allison Jordan. Prepare, renew, reclaim. And now your host, Allison Jordan.
Hi, good evening, Brain Jokes. I got two brains now. I got this one from Advocate Health, so I got a blue brain and a blue brain. Good evening, Brain Jokes, and welcome to another episode of The Brain Truth with Allison Jordan. Right here on the Brain Truth Radio, an Heartbreak station. You can find us on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, you got to go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Podbean, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Player FM, Amazon Music, Listen Notes, and anywhere you can find and listen to your podcasts. And of course, here every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard at thebraintruth.com. Now, you can also find me every Sunday from noon to 4 on the AC Green Show on 106.3 FM, Chicago's #1 station for R&B. And if you want to feature your business here on the Brain Rain Spotlight, or if you want to feature your business with me and AC on the AC Green Show, visit The Brain Truth or email us at acandallymessages@gmail.com. That's AC and Alley Messages. So if you're a small business and we want to highlight you here or on the AC Green Show, shoot us an email and just let us know. Okay. Now, we also are an Amazon affiliate. So what does that mean? Every time you go on our website, thebraintruth.com, and you click on the part where it says Amazon, our official affiliate, every time you shop and buy something, guess what? We make money. And every week I be telling y'all that, and I don't see nobody shopping on our Amazon store. So y'all, please go to the Amazon store and buy something. And if it's something that you want us to sell on there, we will load it. Okay. All right. Traffic control. We always talk every week about traffic control. So no matter where we are in the conversation, we will be pausing for traffic control on the hour. So remember, traffic control, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you put this in your alarm. Remember, this is your toolkit. And every hour you pause, if not for just 30 seconds, take a deep breath, recalibrate. If you are going through something, if you're feeling a little down like I was earlier and your vibration was low, you have a chance every hour to take that cleansing breath, connect back to source, and just really move about your day. So remember, traffic control, Chris is going to put it up. Even if we're in a deep conversation, I'm sorry, we just do it because we all have to get used to doing this recalibration. Okay. All right. Get your pen and paper. Don't forget anything because y'all be texting me. Y'all be calling me after the show, asking me for phone numbers. What's that website? Inboxing me. You really think I can tell all y'all all this information is right there? You could either go to YouTube and watch it again, or while we're doing the show, get a pen and paper or screenshot so that we don't have to repeat ourselves. Yay. All right. Okay. So let's get into the. Oh, wait, did I miss something about the sponsors? No, I'm going to do that later. Let's get to the breaking news. Okay. So guess what? As we know, the show is going to be about heartbreak and brainache. But if you're currently feeling the woes of a recent breakup in the last 90 days, there's definitely something to be said about this. This is a phenomenon. Listen to this. I just learned this yesterday, years old. Okay. And so if you're feeling this, you're not alone. In the last 3 months, there has been some pretty monumental breakups and heartaches in Hollywood. First of all, let me tell you, according to page 6, here is just a small list of all the people that have broken up, who have heartbreaking tragedies. Trevor Noah and Minka Kelly are over after 2 years. Valerie Bertinelli filed for divorce from her husband, Tom Vitale, after 10 years of marriage. Madonna and her longtime boyfriend, I don't even know how to say his name, Amalek Williams, they broke up after 3 years of dating in February. And Ali Wong and her husband, Justin Hakato, announced in February that they were divorcing after 8 years of marriage. Okay, Cyrus filed for divorce from Billy Ray Cyrus. Well, the wife's Mrs. Cyrus after 2 months ago. So what was ever 2 months ago? Because I'm going to give you this idea of like in the last 90 days, right? After 29 years of marriage, they have 5 kids, including, of course, their superstar daughter, Miley Cyrus. Rosanna Arquette and Todd Morgan are divorcing after 8 years of marriage. Social media stars Jake Paul, I just saw them on Instagram. I'm like, what a cute couple. They just called it quits. Celebrity chefs Alex Garney. Oh, Alex Garnaschelli. Alex Garner. I know her from Cut or Chopped or something like that. Anyway, she called up her engagement. She always talked about her fiance. They just called off their engagement in February after 5 years. And then Julia Fox. You guys remember the Kim Kardashian lookalike? Her and Kanye West just called it quits. Poor Kanye. Oh, can we just take a moment for Kanye West? Anyway, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker and actress Rosario Dawson split in February after 3 years of dating. And Today co-host, whatever, Huda and her husband or her partner of 8 years. They just called it off. Emma Roberts and Getta Hartland broke up after 3 years in February. And then Lisa Bonet and her husband, Jason, that hunk. And it's so deep because I just found out about her and her hunk. Was I the only person that just found out about this fine husband she had? And then they just divorced? Like we all just found out about it. They've been married for 20 years and they just divorced. Okay. So if you think there's a coinkydink of all these breakups, maybe there's not. Okay. Because the anti-Valentine's Day week ends with something called Breakup Day. There's an actual international breakup day, which is celebrated on February 21st. The breakup day is internationally recognized across the globe. And what causes this phenomenon? Why is this happening? Okay, just learn this. So many breakups happen at the end of February and continue for 90 days later. Love and sex experts and founder of Biquana, Dr. Dmitry Lokinov, explain that sometimes Valentine's Day can set expectations up too high, and many couples are forced to reevaluate their relationships after a disappointing day that is supposed to celebrate love. And according to Women in Home, with the constant comparisons on social media, it is easy to feel disappointed, leading to arguments and relationship breakdowns. The feeling is similar, they said, to that feeling you get after New Year's Eve. You know, that the celebration is never as good as you wanted it to be. And so you're forced to do something. And then you find yourself comparing these days to the carefully curated content that other people have posted. Did not know that. And James McGuire, founder and director at McGuire Family Law, also explains that he also sees a lot of couples looking for divorce in late February. James says Valentine's Day can often be a trigger or a final straw in the minds of some people. Between the end of February until June, those are the biggest months of divorce or legal separation. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that it was a National Breakup Day? I'm mind, I'm mind blown, yo. Like for real. And then, okay, anyway, that was our breaking news. Let's get to our sponsors. Let's get to our sponsors. Okay, so as you know, we always need sponsors because we need money. And I keep telling y'all think I'm playing. When this be a black screen on Tuesdays at 7:30, it's gonna be because I told y'all I needed sponsors, and y'all kept just passing on by, scrolling on through, and think, oh, they good, they good. We need sponsors, like for real, for real. Y'all know how hard it is to get people to sponsor black people. Now they're gonna sponsor black people that have mental illness and mental health. Okay, so anyway, but I am grateful for the sponsors that we have. And of course, Pretty One Two Cosmetics. This is, I don't know if y'all can see this, but I wear her lashes. I don't know where Dr. Gettings is. Would y'all order these lashes from her? She sent me a whole bunch today, but this is her anti-aging serum. I don't know if you can see it, but this stuff is the bizom. She just sent this to me. So you guys go to www.pretty 12cosmetics.com. It's like pretty, the number 12 cosmetics. But check her out. Black owned woman. She has beautiful products. I use her facial cleanser, her moisturizer, her serum, her lashes, everything, everything, everything. And then, of course, NAMI South Suburbs, which you guys know I am a board member. And I forgot to tell you guys, after we had the mental health awareness, of course, we're still celebrating mental health awareness, but one of the directors of NAMI Illinois, the state, she gave this to me. I was having a little moment at the event, and this is what we call the NAMI llama. Get it? The NAMI llama. And so it says, what is the Nami Lama? The llama is a beast of burden. I did not know that. A beast of burden, like the llama, NAMI Illinois helps ease your mental health burdens through education, support, advocacy, and awareness. And the NAMI Llama was created by NAMI Southwestern Illinois. So that's the NAMI Llama. Ah! Oh my God. Hi, Sister Jenna, my teacher, international faith leader, spiritual, is watching me. Oh gosh, why? Why are you watching me right now? So I can sweat more between my legs. Hi, saying a big hello and Om Shanti. Thank you so much, everybody. That is my one of my many teachers, but that is my teacher, Sister Jenna. If you ever want to learn about her, Google her. And yes, so Om Shanti to you. I'm so happy you're here. I need your energy. Okay, so again, if you want to be a sponsor, and of course, like I said, we need sponsors, please go to www.thebraintruth.com. That's www.thebraintruth.com. And we also accept Cash App. Y'all know what that is. Money sign, the brain truth, money sign, the brain truth, money sign, the brain truth. And I did get $50 the other day. I was like, y'all don't know, $50, that pays for like, I don't know, ask Krishana, one of these mini streaming platforms. Okay, time for the brain bit, everybody. Because I really want to get to this show. I really do. So let's get to the brain bit. As you know, here at the brain bit, we know that laughter heals the soul. And so today's brain bit is more like a conversation because today is about heartbreak and brainache. So this is a conversation between the brain and the heart, right? So after another huge fight that the brain and the heart had, because you know they be fighting and stuff, they be duking it out, right? So the brain told the heart, stop saying to people, follow your heart. The heart asked, why, brain? Okay, heart, because you always make me look like an idiot. So next time, take me with you. That's the joke. That's the brain bit. Get it? Anyway, that was actually from Nina Rubin, author of After Defeat. It's a magazine about heartbreak. Okay, I didn't make that up. All right. If you want to send in some of your brain bits, please Facebook us at The Brain Truth or hit us on Instagram or go to thebraintruth.com. Hey, sis, I see you. Okay, let's get into the disclaimer because I want to get to the show. The Brain Truth does not serve the purpose of providing medical treatment or therapy services, diagnosis, prevention, or cure for any physical, mental, or emotional issue, disease, or condition. As a member of our audience, you agree that the brain truth does not assume liability for any physical or mental disease, condition, or issue, or any other type of loss or damage due to any information shared on our broadcast. So today, we're not going to do the brain buzz. Why? Because we've got some really cool guests and I want to get them in as soon as possible because we're going to be talking about something very, very, very important. So I want to bring on my co-host for tonight, who's really kind of like the one who speared off all this, kicked off all this, had me crying because we're talking about heartache. But anyway, Franzi Giordani, who is a licensed professional counselor. She's also a Brain Gang member, gang, and one of the producers of the show and owner of the Steel Mill Counseling and Wellness Center. So come on in here, Franzi. Come help me, Franzi. Hey, Franzi.
Hey, greetings.
How are you today?
I am sleepy but good.
But I just, you know what, and like I do every week, Dr. Getty is always here heading it in. And so now you're here going to be my sidekick today. I first, as usual, and I'm going to try so hard not to get emotional through the show because it's just going to be an emotional show anyway. But I want to acknowledge you. I really do because I know you see patients all day. I know you're still at your office. and yet you showed up and you show up for me every week. And we cannot do this show without people like you. As I tell the Brangels every week, I am one of you. I'm a person that's been authentic about my journey, and it's like a long testimony for me. My show is just a long testimony. And because the show is rooted in providing help and balance, we cannot do this without the clinicians and the hard work. And you can't get good clinicians who are not working in the industry. And so we got to get y'all, after y'all had full days of helping everybody else, to show up here and to show up to the millions of people watching every week. And so I just want to tell you that I love you. You've provided me with insight on days where I wasn't doing so well, giving me free therapy. You don't even ask for my insurance card. But and I just want to acknowledge you, Francie. I really do. And I want to thank you so much for,
Oh,
for
thank you. It's
everything.
an honor. And I feel like something really good is happening with this podcast. It's so
Oh, it's something happening with all of us that are contributing, because when you're walking in your assignment, when God assigns you, and everybody knows that he put this assignment on me, and it's pretty important. It's a pretty important assignment. And looking back over, and I struggled today. I had to talk to Dr. Ivy. I had to get prayer. But at the end of the day, I'm better every other day. I'm better than I was yesterday. I'm better than I was last week. And I'm surely better than I was when I started. And so thank you. So today, heartbreak and brain ache. I'm just excited to talk about this, and I get Dr. Gettings in here
mhm.
because of the connection of
Yeah.
the brain and heartache. So why was this show important to you?
Well, because the thing about heartbreak is a form of grief. It's one of the you can get your heart broken in so many different ways, right? But heartbreak relation when you have an end of a relationship, you are going through some of the most painful human experiences without the cultural structures that help you to get through the other forms of heartbreak, such
Yeah,
as funerals, memorial services, and things of that nature. But the
yeah,
level of grief and pain is, sometimes just as bad or worse
it is.
than when
And,
you're
and and
there.
Dr. Gettings got some findings to show you. And I don't want to diminish anybody who's watching. And I see you, Jenny.
Mm,
Hi, sweetheart. I love you so much. I love you, Jenny. Um, I don't want to diminish people who have lost a loved one, but there is scientific proof that we will talk about and get into on the variations of the pain and grief of a heartbreak. I'm going through one, and I'm telling
divorce,
you, I am in pain. Like when Dr. Geddes was talking to me earlier, she was reading the stuff. She's like, "You said that, you said that, you said that," and it's so difficult to really talk to people about what you're going through because people say, "Oh, you're so strong," and or get over it. You don't know what you're saying to people when they're really struggling. And that's part of why the show is important, is that we have to give takeaway tools. We can't just be blindly telling people stuff. People jumping off roofs and shooting themselves and going out and shooting other people because people don't know how to talk to people who are grieving, who are going through something. So today it's going to be important. So before we get the guest in, I do really, really, really think it's important right now for us to just take a moment of silence and prayer. I just got notice that 15 people are dead right now following a shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. I'm not sure if I said that correctly. About 85 miles west of San Antonio. 14 children and one teacher. And now I heard that even maybe another person have died in a shooting at Robb Elementary School. And so I just want to take just a few minutes of just silence for that and for those families. We're just going to pray for them. We're going to be hearing more about it kind of coming weeks, I'm sure, and days. But yeah. So let's bring on these guests, okay? Because we want to get into these conversations. I don't want to be by myself right now. Whew. Hey, sister, I see you, sis. You know I lost my dad. Yes, I do. The closest person to me in August.
Mm.
Stay in this conversation, sister. Yes, I do. And I've seen your post and I've seen you struggling. And we hope to bring some clarity and answers today on how we all can heal from this. So, Brittany Flatley. I hope I'm saying her name right. Flatley. She's the principal at G. Carter Group Development, an emerging female minority owned real estate development firm. Oh, that could be a good sponsor, y'all. Yep, I'm saying it on air. That focuses on curating communities for vulnerable populations. Oh, that's beautiful. She has traveled the world visiting cities like Singapore, Dubai, London, and Amsterdam, developing a keen ability to understand and connect with individuals from all walks of life. Ms. Flatley has worked with some of the city's most notable builders, developers, business managers, and attorneys, consistently providing concierge level service and experience. Her empathy, or how do you say that word? She's
Empathic.
an empath. That's all, like me. Approach allows those with the privilege to work with her to feel they continuously receive an attentive, intuitive, and dedicated experience. She is here to talk candidly about her own journey with heartbreak. So come on in here, Brittany. Hey, Brittany. Hey,
Hey,
Brittany.
girl.
Oh my God, you're gorgeous.
Oh, thank you, girl. And you know I got you.
Please,
How
I
are
need you.
you?
I'm good.
I was
Oh my God, I'm
listening.
just impressed with what you're doing. You look like you're 12. So I mean, you started when you were 8, you started going to school, you graduated by 12, and now you
I
so
know.
nice
Yeah.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I'm happy to be here. Yeah,
Yeah,
I look young, our skin. It works
you
well.
look amazing. And you travel, I've never been to Dubai, and I'm over 50. And Singapore.
Yeah, no, girl.
Wow.
I
So
have
this was
been
for
to
business or pleasure or what?
um always start off with pleasure, right? And it always ends up in business. It's just my
Oh,
world.
oh, for you, it
Yeah.
starts off in pleasure, then business. Most people start off with business and pleasure. So you go there, you diss whoever you there for pleasure with, and be like, I got to make these coins and connect. Ooh, look at Francie. Francie, like, so you know her, Francie. You guys are connected, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, we kind of had this conversation in her kitchen the week ago. The
Oh, did
heartbreak.
you? Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Break it down.
we were supporting each other.
Okay, got it. Well, welcome to the show and welcome to this conversation. I want to bring in Kimberly. Kimberly Sprints is the founder and director of Women Empowering Women Support Groups called The Next Step, an online resource for women to access online support meetings and other resources. As a woman with a history of trauma, abuse, addiction, and neurodiversity, I read that and I'm curious to find out what neurodiversity means. Her life could have ended in many occasions. Wow. Through her journey, she says she found her worth and regained power. She
Amen.
says we are equally worthy of being loved and respected, which means we should have access to the education and tools required to establish and maintain a healthy life. Giving people access to the fundamental components of what is needed to be healthy in mind and body unlocks their greatest possibilities, and that will be a greater gift to our collective human race. That was really profound. Come on
Mhm.
in here, Kim. I want to meet you, girl.
Hi.
Oh my God. That gave me chills. Just that
Thank
whole
you.
part where you just said
Mm,
the greater gift to our collective human race. That's like
yes,
the work that we're doing, you
it
know.
is.
I'm
And
getting I got literal chills from
thank you.
the work that you're doing. So tell me,
Thanks.
how long have you been doing Next Step?
Ah,
And this was rooted sort of out of your own
hmm.
journey, like
Out
like
of
me, like I'm doing a podcast. I
but
I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm supposed to be
right.
get my nails did.
It-
Okay, but so what happened that you were called to this work?
Well, I call it my testimony to the world actually because I try to stay as as
Transparent.
Yes, as I can. And so, long story short, is I've had a history of trauma through it started in childhood, it continued on into adulthood, led to the last abusive relationship that I was in, where I was almost killed by my partner at that time, after a year of the most severe abuse that I've had. And I've gone through a lot. So, I'm going to preface it there. But at that point in my life, I was at the lowest I had ever been. And I
How old
needed,
were you at that point? How
I
old?
was 42, 41 years old, almost 42.
Wow.
And this had, really threw me for a loop. I had gone through a divorce after 18 years of marriage. So this was that new relationship that had all the whistles and bells and came with a narcissistic sociopath as my partner. So that
Yep.
should pretty much explain it for you.
Yep.
But through that process, getting therapy, which I was lucky enough to have access to and privileged enough for that, I went into CODA. It was a 12-step program,
Okay.
referred to me by my therapist at the time. And it was in CODA that I got the help that I needed, learning how to put boundaries in
Yes,
relationships,
honey.
which I had no idea.
Self-care and boundaries.
Oh
It's a
my
secret
gosh, I was never taught
ingredient.
that. I mean, a lot of us weren't given these basic coping skills when we were younger. So I had nothing to work with, right? And so I learned all of that through that program. But that being said, I was also in a room with men who were predatory, picking up women who were codependent and weak. They were sharing their life story in these rooms, and these men who you could tell were up to no good, especially once your radar was fixed, right? Once you weren't like attracting bad people, you could see it. And I knew that that was not safe for me. And I knew
Right.
other women weren't safe. So I started Women Empowering Women CODA group. And through CODA, we outgrew our space. And this was back when we were meeting in person. And then it grew to the ACA meeting. And then when CODA hit, so we had two groups. We had
Right.
CODA and we had ACA.
Right.
When COVID hit, all of us were getting together and we needed more and more meetings. The women were meeting like, let's have another meeting. Let's have another meeting. So I was on trying to give topics that women needed to hear. They were asking
Exactly.
about things that they were struggling with. And I was, as a graduate student, I'm doing a lot of research anyway. So I was giving them what I was learning. And I think that's
Right.
how we give back, is we have
Boom.
a skill set and we can give that and pay it forward. So I started the group, and now we have over 600 women nationwide. And we have about 20 people over in Europe
Right.
that are
Step that up,
joining our
Brittany.
meetings.
Yes.
And the good part is all of our meetings are free. They do not cost
Oh
anything
my
for
gosh. And when
anyone.
do you guys meet? Because I'm definitely getting on this.
Great.
Man.
I attend.
When do you meet?
Exactly.
I
Francie is a
attend meetings.
member. She
What days? What
Okay,
time?
so we have Monday. Monday is our CODA meeting. Then we have a group study for the CODA group on Wednesdays. Tuesday is our ACA meeting, and Thursday is our study meeting for that. And then Fridays are our next step meeting, and that's the one that I lead. It is our independent group. So basically, what I've done is I've moved over the 12 step to secure their traditions and guidelines for those meetings. And the
Yeah.
next step is a branch of that, and now it's where all the women come to learn psychoeducational skills that they may not have been privy to before. So they come
Yeah.
online. It's free. It's Zoom, and just so you know, if you miss anything, I have the members only section of our website, and you can rewatch all of the, I record them
Yeah, I
after.
saw that.
hmm
Yeah.
And you can look up information.
Catch
I
up.
try
I'm
to get
gonna
as
play
much
some
on there
catch
as I
up.
can. Huh?
I'm gonna play some catch up
Oh,
on
yeah.
there.
Well, especially if there's a topic that you really want to kind of
Yeah.
dive
I need all
into.
the topics.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
good. I mean,
Like
who doesn't,
every
right?
topic was like, I need it, I need it, I need it.
Good. I'm glad you
What's
like it.
neurodiversity? What is that?
Neurodiversity. Okay, so that is a
Neurodiversity.
new term in helping careers. Okay, licensed counselors and therapists. Neurodiversity was originally for individuals who had autism. Okay, that's where
Okay.
it began. All right.
Okay.
It has expanded to include people with attention deficit disorders and things of that nature as part of that umbrella.
Got it.
I'm trying to normalize the term myself because I feel like mental health has a lot of stigma to it. And I have mental health issues, and it's nobody's business what they are unless I want them to know.
Oh,
And I can hold space for myself by saying I am diverse because I have several things going on in my world. And it's holding that candle up that it's okay to have mental illness without isolating certain things. So it kind of eliminates some of that stigma. And I think that's really important in our work that people feel safe. So
okay, we're going to pause for
neurodiverse.
traffic control. Thank you, Chris. Deep breath. Whew. Thank you so much, Chris, for that. We're going to keep going with you, Kimberly, but I'm going to pause and
Sure.
bring a man because you said something about men, and I got
Come
to get
on,
the
bring it.
man in. I got to get the man in the room, honey, because we want to get into the heartbreak and the
Mm,
brainache stuff. And I just thought it was very important to bring a man in the room because he has a perspective. But this is my friend. I don't have his bio, so I'm just going to like tell y'all. This man, James Johnson, for me, is one of the kindest men I think I ever met. We're like brother and sister. Never dated me, never hit on me, never nothing. We've been friends for many, many, many years. He's the type of guy that if you needed $2 and he had $1, he's gonna give you that and go find another one. And he's a self-made, owns a HVAC sheet metal company. Now he's in the fuel industry and he's a philanthropist. He's just a kind human being. But, with all of that, he had a story to tell about heartbreak. And I'm so glad he's here to talk about it because back when he was going through it, I had to hear about it every single day, all day. But now me going through it, he's the first person I call because I was there listening and I get it now. And from a male's perspective, you were looking at the time when I wasn't as educated as I am on my journey was like, okay, you're a man, like, come on, in my mind. But he was vulnerable and he was honest and authentic. And that's what makes a man to me, I think. So come on in here, James Johnson. Join this conversation. Hi, James.
Hello. Hello, ladies.
Hey,
Hello.
Ronnie. I see you,
hello.
Ronnie. So, James, why was it important for you to join this conversation?
Well, as a man, I know that a lot of ladies feel like I think we have, how can I put the words right? I think that we get a lot of bad rep from the ladies out here. And I just want them to know that we have issues as well. And, I've been in several relationships where I've been taken advantage of. Mentally, physically, hurt, heartache, brain ache, whatever you want to call it. I've been there, done it. And going through all that I've went through, it has made me into this very strong man. My defenses is up in a good way, not a stressful way. And I think most important is learning how to walk away. If you see where it's not going to work, walk away. Don't be afraid to walk away. So, I just wanted to be here to share my story with you all to let you all know that we go through the same thing that you all go through. It's equal. And it's not just about one person. It's about two people, a man and a
Right.
woman. So I wanted to, just talk about that, share some of
And
the
give
things
us
that has
that
happened to
male
me
perspective.
and give
Because
you
we
that male
always are the
perspective.
wounded female. And I really, I tell people all the time, I remember, I've been very authentic and I'm going to talk today about my husband and I and our, separation. And I just remember reading a men's magazine that was in the bathroom. And I read an article about how men just move on. That's how they cope. They move on. And I'm watching it in play right now, him moving on and on and on several times. And then we deal with it, right? We eat the ice cream, we drink the wine, we cry, we go out with our girlfriends, and we get over the breakup because we
We
are,
get through it.
we get through it. We get through it and they just move on. And I'm like telling y'all, stop reading them women magazines and read men magazines. Get a subscription to all the men's health and all that because that's where you get insight on the male psyche and what they're going through. So we're not sitting there, oh, look at him, he's with another female and he's with this. It's like, no, he's not well. And he's acting out and you're watching it live. Okay. So Dr. Gettings, I want you to come in here because you have the magic potion so that we can get deep into this conversation, because we definitely want our brain jokes to kind of understand. We're going to talk about our heartache and our experience, but I want to always connect it to the brain. So Dr. Gettings, get in here. Dr. Gettings. Hi, Dr. Gettings.
Hi, everybody.
So, you were backstage, Dr. Gettings. What do you think about this panel? We ready to go?
Well, I think the panel is great. I think that we're talking about something that everyone can relate to. Anytime we talk about emotional pain, which is essentially what breakups, divorce, death of a loved one bring on,
Getting
we need
ghosted.
to understand why that's happening. Do you all hear feedback from me?
No, I hear feedback, but I don't know where who it's coming from.
Yes.
But it's not you.
No, it sounds like okay. Okay. But what I'm really excited about talking about and educating the audience, because there's this huge misconception, like when we talk about heartbreak, which was really what was behind the whole show, that love essentially starts in the heart, when really it's a biochemical process that is deeply rooted in your brain. And I feel like to really normalize what we experience when we have had a separation, divorce, or breakup, is understanding what happened in the first place. Because you can't figure out what you're going through now if you don't understand the groundwork for what takes place when we fall in love and we establish these relationships. So I'd really like our audience to understand that, so that we can kind of understand what we go through beyond that. If that makes sense.
So what happens in the beginning? So what's happening?
So in the
I mean, I know about the pheromones and the sex and all that. I mean, like, what's happening? Like, we getting it all in love. And oh, baby, what's happening to my body and my brain when I'm like, I love you?
Yeah.
What?
So
You're hot.
Falling
You're
in
getting
love.
hot? Did you wait? Francie said hot.
You're hot. You say you hot.
Oh yeah, okay. High.
Because you are high. Like, that's the first stage. The first stage is literally a socially acceptable addiction. We all know what addiction looks like, but
I just had that.
Socially, listen, everybody, when you're falling in love, socially accepted addiction. Say that for the people in the way back.
It's one addiction that is socially accepted. So when you tell people, all I could think about is that person, I can't wait to see them. Okay, but if you were talking about crack, we would tell you need to get some help. But when you're talking about somebody that you've fallen in love with, then all of a sudden it's socially acceptable. So your brain is literally making a bunch of dopamine when we first start to get to know someone and fall in love with them. Dopamine is a key neurochemical in our reward pathway. So it's the same pathway that nicotine, cocaine, those substances hijack. And so when you are falling in love, you are essentially addicted. The other piece is the part of your brain that actually is responsible for judgment and making good decisions is put to sleep in this process. So when we use terms
dopamine came and told the real person to shut the F up so we can just be stupid.
Pretty much. So when people say
get high,
like crazy in love,
stoned out about it,
or some of those other terms that we hear as it relates to falling in love, your frontal lobe literally has taken a little nap. So your whole brain hijacked by all this dopamine. Well, over time, that phase kind of wears down and you start to make these other hormones, oxytocin, vasopressin. These are key players in attachment. So everything I've heard tonight, like especially what Kim was saying about people who don't have a strong sense of secure attachments, can really find themselves in a challenging position when you're trying to develop a healthy relationship and have this process that's coming in. So the attachment piece is key because it's key to the heartbreak. Okay. So I have come up with my own little 3-step when you are going through a breakup. And let's be clear, there is no set time. We all have different brains. Therefore, it's a non-linear individual process when it comes to healing from a breakup. So when we judge ourselves like, shouldn't I be over this now? I can't believe I'm still thinking about this person and all that kind of stuff. You have to be patient with your brain's recovery process, if you will. Okay. So I have come up with detox, detach, and desensitize.
Say
Because
it
those,
again. You came up with them 3Ds.
yes, I did.
Can I do like this? Throw some D's on it. Throw some D's on it. Now say it one more time. Throw some
De-
D's on it.
detox,
Detox. Let me write this
detach,
down.
and desensitize. Now, even though the desensitize can take longer, I want to talk about that part because the other part of our brain that is hijacked during a breakup is the part of our brain that actually processes pain. The same part of your brain that processes physical pain processes emotional pain.
Okay, so hold that. Don't go into the breakup yet. Let's stay with the whole. I want to stay high for a minute. Okay, let's stay in the high state.
Okay.
Because I think
High
Francis, you were,
and attached.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's stay in that, and then we're gonna talk to the people, and then we're gonna find out what's going on in the heartbreak stuff. Because I want to go to the part. I'm still stuck in the whole like I'm high right now, and I'm loved. Because
Yes.
that's gonna explain why I am just struggling over here right now. Francie, you were kind of wanted to say something at one point. Don't tell me you forgot. Uh-oh.
Well, I can say
She got a
something.
brain break. Okay, so I wanted to go into talking to James before we keep going, because I know Dr. Getty, she gonna load you up with so much stuff. But I want to go to each one of our guests first, and I want to kind of just get a brief story on your journey in love, in that part of it, in what you experienced in that relationship. I know James, if we're talking openly, and we're not going to say names, but your breakup was connected to not another person, but this a person's love for substance abuse. And so
Right.
that's pretty deep. So tell us a little bit about your story first, and how you arrived to that, and how did that feel?
Well, first thing I do want to tell everybody in the beginning stages of a relationship, you're creating what's called good memory. Okay. That's the impressive stages of a relationship. And once you start creating bad memories, then that's when you start to see the relationship start to fall. And that coincides with the 3Ds. So I wanted to put that out there first for you all to think about that down the line. Now, with me, it wasn't about cheating. It was about, like Allison said, a substance abuse. It was cocaine, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I mean, this person got to meet. I mean, we had a great relationship. We had a good time. We traveled. We partied together. We worked on businesses together. We did a lot of things together. I must say that it was a really great relationship until I found out that she was doing cocaine. And she said to me, she said, "Hey, babe, yeah, I do cocaine, but I control the cocaine. It's not controlling me." Well, I didn't know much about cocaine at the time, so I said, "Okay." But as time went on, I started to notice her changing. She was becoming more combative and argumentative, and hanging around all of her friends. They were doing cocaine, and she would basically, she worked in the bar industry, uh, and she would drink, and people would buy her shots to drink, and then that would make her tired and sleepy, and she needed the cocaine to bring her back up. So it got to the point where it was a continuous situation where every time she got with me, it was always something. And one thing that I just will never forget was my coat was sitting on the kitchen table, and so was her coat. And when she came home from work, which I picked her up, of course, because I picked her up and dropped her off every day because she couldn't drive because she didn't have a driver's license. She had one, but of course it got suspended. So when I brought her home, she was complaining about my coat on the back of the chair, which I kept kind of trying to ignore the situation, but she kept saying, "So you're going to hang your coat up?" And I'm thinking, "No, I'm not going to hang my coat up right now." And she's still sweating me about it. And I said, "Well, baby, your coat's been on the back of the chair for the last 2 weeks. Mine just, was on the chair from that day." So she was actually sitting in the chair, and she said again, "Well, are you going to hang your coat up?" And I said, "Well, what about your coat? Are you going to hang it up?" But she totally tuned that out. So finally, I went in the kitchen to make something to eat, and she called me back and she said, "Hey," she said, "James, can you come sit down for a minute?" I said, "Sure." And I guess she looked up cocaine, and she said to me, she said, "I think the cocaine has taken me over now." And
The cocaine is
I
taking
was
you over. Taking you
has
over?
taken her over, has taken
Oh,
her over.
so she told you that. Okay.
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was real happy to hear her say that. I was actually proud of her. And I said, "Well, hey, I'm here to help you do whatever you need to do." And keep in mind,
But
I
when
don't
she
know
came
much
to that
about cocaine.
realization, it was short lived. So then what happened during the end? Like, we knew that she was strung out because you guys broke up. So you came to that
Well,
realization and then you got
the
happy and you
long
thought,
story,
oh my God.
yeah, long story short, and I wanted to get to this one point, is after that conversation, I went back in the kitchen and no, actually I stayed sitting down and I heard, how you had the little knife cases and you pull it out and you can hear the knife come out like, shh.
Yeah.
And so she ran upstairs with the knife and I'm sitting there, I'm saying, "Now, why is she taking a knife upstairs?" So I ran upstairs behind her and I called her name and she was like, "What?" And I said, "What are you going to do with a knife this long?" She said she was finna cut her hair. And I'm like, "But babe, the scissors are right there on the countertop." So I ended up taking a
Mhm.
knife away from her and, started crying. And she said, "I really need help and I'm going to quit." Well, I tried to help her and that didn't happen. And it got worse, throughout time. We
Right.
had several other incidents that we had. I
I
mean, even getting
remember.
to the point where I was getting into it with people where she worked at about it, because that's where the source of her cocaine came from, and then all her friends. So it just happened to be one night that we got into it real bad. She was on top of the hood of my car, stumping on the car. And I mean, you can hear that demon come out of her. I mean, and I let you hear that before, Allison. If you remember, you can hear, I mean, you could just hear that demon come out of her that night. And that lasted throughout the whole night. And at that point, I just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take it anymore. So we kind of got through that. And then, I moved into the city and I just so happened to move her close to work again. And the cocaine habit was already bad, but it got even worse.
So
I mean, it got,
how many years was it that you put up with the cocaine? No, like it's like me. My husband was cheating and I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry. I meant to say my partner or someone I was dating, but I don't know. It's the brain truth.
that's the
But
brain
he
truth,
was
right?
cheating and cheating and cheating and I kept making it okay. And so it's almost like she was cheating on you with a drug and you were making it okay. So it's kind of like the same thing, right?
Right.
And
It's the same
I know
thing.
at the end, for me, I mean, Franzi, I don't know how many people you talk to that have that sort of grief or going through it, but that's got to be something even worse to like be the cheater is not a human that you could smack. You know what I'm saying? That you can like, I don't know. How does that work when somebody is up against
I
that
couldn't
kind
do
of
anything about it. I mean, the thing is when I decided to take some counseling, and the lady told me, "You can be laying here, and the cocaine can be over here, and she'll step, and you can be
yeah. She can
dying
go to the
because."
bathroom. You would have to follow her in the shower. You'd
Yeah,
have to just follow because you have to leave the house to go cheat on me with a woman, but in the house with cocaine, I could be sleeping, you in the kitchen, I'm thinking you cooking me breakfast and you down there.
Or in
So
the
Frank,
bathroom.
do you come up with that a lot in your
when you're addicted, when there's substance abuse, that's their primary relationship. The
Exactly.
substance. Yeah, yeah. Everything comes behind that: children, career, wife, husband. If your partner has a substance abuse or a gambling addiction, any kind of an addiction, um, I treat most issues as an addiction because we're biochemical beings. So whatever you do on a regular basis is part of your homeostasis on a biochemical level. So whenever it is taken away, you're going through that grief and heartbreak. So
Well,
it's
Brittany?
oh, go
Brittany,
ahead, Brittany.
tell me a little bit about your your journey with heartache? And I'll come back to you, James.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you, James, for sharing that. I mean, I don't even know where to start, girl. I should get the T-shirt for like poster child of what not to do. Fonzie and I talk about it all the time. I mean, I went down every path, codependent. I mean, every type of narcissist I've met, and I finally got to a place I think that, I'm safe, right? You can set those boundaries. You can be, you think you can, go out in the world and start dating and test things out. And then you find out, oh, wait, maybe not. And it hurts because you feel vulnerable and you're scared. I was in a marriage where addiction, was a main factor. And I was in that marriage for 8 years, and kids didn't matter. I didn't matter, and before that, I was in a relationship with a sports player, a linebacker we will not name here.
I was married to an NBA player.
Oh, girl, so you know how that goes.
Yeah, but I don't know. My NBA player was better than the other one, so I don't know. I can't talk about him.
The NFL. See, I go between. Like,
I've seen the world. I've seen the world. I've seen it.
And so I that was a lot, because there was you deal with the cheating, and you deal with the drugs, and you deal with the fame.
Wow.
And it broke me. I mean, I've never been more broken in my life from that. I'm still 14 years later, still trying to figure it out, still trying to heal. I mean, just the other day, I was telling them the story, and they looked at me and were like, I'm so sorry. And it registered to me. I still have all that pain inside 14 years later, and other people can see it. And I'm sitting here like, I'm fine, and I'm not fine, and it's realizations like that where you wake up, you do your habit, right? You get your coffee, you go to work, you do what you do. And it's just like, you've got to do the work, and you've got to sit through the grief, and you've got to process. And I think for me, I spent time in almost every, real estate. I'm out always constantly doing something. And I never sit and just kind of sit with myself and just process the pain, like let my heart chakra bleed. Like it just needs to bleed.
And then I know, Francie, you want to say something really quick, because I'm thinking like we're going to get back to Dr. Giddens, because she got the goods. Because do you repeat this? Like, is it like once you get a heartbreak, like I hear Brittany keep saying, I keep doing it. I don't want to, I want to cure. I want to get myself.
Girl, me too. Girl, where is it?
I will refuse to go through what I'm going through right now. So Francie, what did you want to say?
I would like to say two things. I would like to say what complicates this is that first your heart is broken and you're grieving, and then there's shame about not being able to on a dime execute the decision made from this part of the brain, because this part of the brain has hijacked this. Because like an addiction, you are going through withdrawal. You remember that homeostasis? We co-regulate, our bodies co-regulate and sync up to our intimate partner. And so you're like, I know better, just like a drug. Somebody who says, I'm not drinking anymore.
You see the red flag, and you're like, don't go down that alley. And then you go down the alley anyway.
So the second problem is, the reason we keep having these repeat scenarios is because on a subconscious level, emotions are magnetic. So people who try to get over negative experiences, traumatic experience, or relationships, until you do what Usher said, let it burn, and stop trying to get over it, it's still there. So on an emotional level, you're going to subconsciously attract and be attracted to something that's going to help. It's an invitation. It's a sacred invitation. It's a rite of passage. And until you accept that invitation, you will continue. The universe, God, Buddha, whoever, Jesus, will continue to say, look at this. Look at this. It's still in there. It's still in there. And until you look at it, learn from it, and keep processing, keep feeling it and letting it burn, you can pace yourself. You may need professional help. You may need an emotional support system, like you guys supported each other. You may need a combination of things, tools. But until you take the time to fully process and reduce the intensity or neutralize the emotional charge around traumatic, painful experiences, you will continue to attract and be attracted to
Hmm.
those experiences. Or the
Hmm.
universe will continue to keep trying to get you to take that class over
Yes.
again. We are radios, we send and receive. So your emotions, whether you are conscious of them or not,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
will have to be
Will.
dealt with. It will,
Girl.
consciously or not. So our work as clinicians is to make the unconscious conscious, like Carl Jung said. That's what psychotherapy is about. Because that
Yeah.
unresolved stuff that you are unaware of, you still, whether you're aware of it or not, you're still going to have to deal with it.
Well, I
Kimberly,
could
tell us a
say,
little bit about your journey.
Mm. Well, I resonate with what James said. I love what Francie said. Brittany, your share. I mean, what we're seeing, and of course, Dr. Gettings, like amazing.
Yes.
This is a human experience of heartbreak. All of us deal with some form or another, but mine resonates a lot with the addiction part. Okay, I'm going to be sober 7 years
Wow.
this year in September, and the last relationship that I used in the drug that really kept me there was called G. And a lot of people don't know about it. It's a clear drug. They use it as a date rape drug. And anyway, it's a liquid. Long story short, and it really does relate to what we're talking here. This was a two-sided addiction for me. One was the relational addiction. Okay, so I have a narcissist that's conditioning me to do what he wants, so that I am in line with every criteria that he's setting for me. He found out enough information. I had not used hard drugs since I was like 18 years old. So at 41, 40 years old, and I'm dating this guy, and he's like, "Oh, well, this isn't really a drug. It used to be legal, blah, blah, blah." I mean, I bought into it hook, line, and sinker, started using the drug, and my addiction just kicked into full gear. And so now he knew, ooh, I've got this to reward her with, and I'm going to make her do this and this with all of the
Wow.
emotional abuse that goes with it. And that is where your will, where your the way that you see yourself, you are just negated on every single level. You truly believe that you cannot live without this person and this thing. So I had that dual addiction piece. uh, so as an abused woman, I also had children. Okay. So my oldest was with his father, but my youngest was there with me. Okay. So you talk about grief. Let me tell you, some grief is when you get sober and you have to look back at all the stuff you've done to your children, to your friends and family that you've isolated so you can stay in these really toxic, abusive relationships. And that is heartbreaking. That is damage you can't go back and reconcile. Okay. You have to come to a point where you can let what you did go.
Yeah.
Let that attachment that we have to, why did I do that? Why did I pick this person? What's wrong with me? And sit there and berate yourself to death, and recognize that I did the best I could with the tools I had, which were
Right.
very limited at that time. And when I knew better, I did better. But I can tell you, it doesn't matter how educated you are or how much truth that you are bringing to a person. If they are addicted to anything, or if they are just dead set on this maladaptive way of living their life, until they're open, until they're listening, until they're ready to receive that truth, they will not hear it. It'll go in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
You take away the one thing in my life. They were telling me I couldn't have this person because he was harmful and dangerous and could kill me, and he tried. Okay, I'll just put it there. He did all of those things. They were telling me, my therapist, my counselors, everybody, don't go back to him, don't go back to him. But when you have that little addiction piece that they can dangle in front of you, it doesn't matter how much truth was in front of me. I wanted what he gave
Wow.
me.
Wow.
And what I can say, and I'll end with this because I want to respect everyone else's time. The one thing I can say that's really hard, that resonates with me on such a level, it took me a long time to understand this. When you were talking about whether it's love addiction, which I really do think that that is a thing, whether it's love addiction or it's a chemical dependency addiction, those are accesses that we have to joy. And some of
Yes.
us only have that as joy. And if
Yeah.
you tell somebody they can't
Mm,
have the one thing that's joyful in their life, you're not going to be met with a lot of compassion. You're going to be met with a lot of resistance. You don't want
yes.
that. You don't want that taken away.
Right.
And that's the challenge I had. How am I going to have joy without this? How am I going to have a life that's fulfilling without this?
Yeah.
And it didn't enable me to see anything else. So until I got enough, until I hit my rock bottom, not to overuse that term, but it truly was, I was
It's
done.
true.
Like, check me. What do I have to do? Who do I need to talk to get this done? And it took a lot of work, a lot of work. But I'm
Thanks.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my story. So
Thank you for
thank you
doing your
all for
work.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah. James, I know you are eager to say something. We
Well,
wanted to get to everybody's story.
as I always tell you, Allison, there's a right way, a wrong way, and your way. And first of all, ladies, you have to learn to love yourselves, okay? And start putting yourselves first, okay? And start adopting that 3 strike rule. 1, 2, 3, you're out. Teach yourself how to be able to walk away, because I've done that and I'm happy with myself and I love myself and I can walk away anytime. And that's what you have to build up within yourself. I can't sit around and be a pity party or be sorry for someone else that's playing victim. I'm gone. I'm out. And I tell that to Allison all the time. You got to be happy with yourself first. And if you're not, that's what a person lean on is your weakness, whether you're a male or female. So again, there's a right way, a wrong way, and your way. And you got to start learning to do some things your way and making better decisions and not depending. And I'm not saying don't depend on your husband if you're married, because you're supposed to. But when things are bad and that woman's intuition kick in, that's telling you something right there. It's time for change. So if whether you're married or you're in a relationship with an abusive person, ask yourself, why are you taking this abuse from someone? You see, so you got to make sure mentally that you keep yourself together, and like I said again, that 3-step rule, 3 times, you're out. Okay, because keep in mind in the beginning, he did everything to get you. Okay, and now that he got you or she got you, now they want to control you. So you got to make sure that you keep your end up so you can keep that balance in that relationship.
But that's not always easy, James. I mean, I'm a person. He had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 because I can't. So my story, as everybody knows, that I went into the hospital in 2020,
I know your story.
and
Yeah.
and I came home, and then he left. And he left. Imagine your husband leaving you after 18 years or however long we were married, maybe till we're still married, and not talking to you ever again. Like you don't get a text, you don't get a call, you're blocked. Um, Nothing. It's like that old story people said back in the 70s and 80s where my daddy went for a gallon of milk and bread and never came back. And I'm recovering. I'm in recovery from being in the hospital. Okay. I'm still waiting for the antidepressants to do a re-up. So I can equate my journey as literally being in a coma. And when I came to 3 months after that antidepressant kicked up, I find out he's not coming back. His stuff is still here, everything. I think Sister Jenna and had to work with me 5 months to put that stuff in a bag because I'm like, what happened?
Key
Right.
word, Allison. He
And then
left you.
I have to and then I'm sitting there like, what happened? And then you go through a journey of healing, and that journey of healing makes you skip over anger because then you become a yogi. So you don't have any anger, and everybody wants to be angry now. So I have this love. Then I have this missing part. And so I'm in deep grief because I know he's not well. I know I wasn't well, and I did all the work. And now I want to show up like, okay, I did all the work. Can we just resume? And he didn't. So he's out there still repeating the same thing. So Dr. Gettings, I want you to come in and talk to us about what now we're on the other side because You know what I'm dealing with. I mean, people can say anything they want. I know my brains are listening. We can try to reason with this. We can try to say, get over it. You can be treated better, this and that. But we are talking about something going on here and connected to the fact that I already, went through trauma. I was in the hospital because of childhood trauma of rape, molestation. I had a guy, Kimberly, put a gun in the head, pulled the trigger, reloaded with the bullet. And so I went into the hospital, and then I literally thought that everything was beautiful and he was coming back. And then he leaves. You understand what I'm saying? So,
Yes. So I think we touched first on the
did we
intoxicating.
lose James? I think we lost him, but I'm sorry. Go on, Dr. Gettings.
We at first we talked about that first initial stage of the intoxicating, falling in love, kind of addictive stage. But I think that second stage, when we look at relationships of any kind, and we're really talking about grief, breakups, divorce, loss of a loved one, etc., it's the detachment.
Right.
We as individuals we're designed to attach. And if you think about how important attachment can be based on survival, at one point in time, your ability to be accepted, to be cared for, to have a significant other can really depend on and determine your longevity and your ability to survive. So it's deeply ingrained with us. What I find as a mental health professional is that, going back to what Francie said, which I think is really important, when she said that, it's this magnetic energy and you'll continue to attract what you already have and haven't mastered. That is so powerful and so true, because when you think about how our brains work, we learn, I think it's James Mike. Sorry, but as far as how our brains work,
Mute yourself, James. James can. Okay.
so as
Okay.
far as far
You
as
have
how
you have feedback.
I am muted.
Okay.
as far as how our brains work, when it comes to doing things, we learn how to do things early on. You learn how to read, you learn how to ride a bike. You also learn how to attach to people. Okay. And let's be real, some of us have not had good examples and teachings when it comes to healthy attachment. Some of us have come up in environments we were abandoned and neglected. So we may hold on to people that are kicking us in the face, but we still holding on because in our wounded mind, dating all the way back to childhood, all we know is we want to be with somebody. Or versus having a situation where you're not able to attach well. That too can end relationships. People who are not emotionally available, who are completely closed off, walled off, etc. So when you look at attachment as a spectrum, as something we've learned, oftentimes what a person is dealing with in an adult relationship is a repeat of what they were taught or experienced in childhood. And until you figure out for yourself why you are attaching to someone who is not treating you well, you are likely to repeat that attachment with another person who won't treat you well in a new relationship. So you have to really look at what attachment means for us. And when we detach, it creates so much stress in the body and cortisol. You literally can cause your heart to be inflamed. The cortisol will come in, it disrupts every system in the body. And when we look at people who are going through a breakup, a lot of what we see, or what I see, frustration attraction, where you just going after somebody because now you can't get them, the loss of attachment, the physical pain, which comes with also anxiety, because again, emotional pain and physical pain tracks are very much so the same in the brain. And just like if I get punched in the stomach, I'm going to be in pain and I'm going to be anxious. It's the same thing when you have emotional pain. And that high cortisol is going to trigger a lot of anxiety. And at the end of the day, that is the stage where a lot of people get really stuck. And so you've kind of gone through that detox, right? I'm not necessarily craving that person. I ain't smelling their cologne as much as I was 2 weeks ago, but now you're literally in this wounded, rejected, and that can bring a lot of shame, especially when it's public. It's 2022. People are breaking up with people publicly. So now it's not even just your business. Everybody know your business. You
Right.
okay. So
Kimberly, I'm sorry, Kimberly, you had your hand up.
Oh, well, I agree. I agree with what she's saying. What I was going to add is that it's scientifically shown, and many, many, many researchers agree that when you're in a heartbreak situation in your body is experiencing actual physical pain. So that is
I
why
be having pain every day.
yeah, yeah.
Like
But
you get
they
sick.
even said that you can, some doctors joke. I mean, just take some Tylenol for your heart, because your heart is broken. It truly feels broken, and as intense as that breakup is, that experience can be extremely overwhelming, and our relationship to the breakup is something that's important too. We have relationships with everything, and if I have a relationship with the breakup that I'm trying to reconcile because I just can't get my head around it, I'm essentially stuck way back in the history trying to figure this thing out, and I'm not present in my body. I'm not here,
I
right?
think
So
we
that
lost
pain,
James.
yeah, that pain we just keep reliving is what I'm saying. We stay stuck in that painful state. So I think that it's important for us to acknowledge that, as the doctor said, it's a physiological experience going on. And if we're trying to mitigate that pain by coming up with some other person that's going to put some salve on it and a Band-Aid that happens to be just as broken as the other person but looks different, it's the same thing. You're not going to heal. You're just trying
Brittany,
to
is
deal with
that
it.
what's happening with you? You just keep repeating it? Like,
It's
I
like
almost did that. I almost,
Mhm.
thanks to Dr. Getting. See, honey, you need to get you a brain
I know
gainer.
I need both the I need
Because
every doctor on
Because my brain
y'all
gang,
need to
honey,
come to
they be
my
ganging,
house and help me
they're just
out,
like a
girl.
gang. They be ganging up on me. Dr. Ivy, who I'm going to be bringing in a minute, I call it the lashing. What did I call it, Dr. Getting?
love
The love
lashing.
lashing, honey.
Ooh.
They,
Love
it,
Have a
it-
field day
I,
with me.
I surround
I got
myself.
my own brain game.
I surround myself with people. I have people, family that don't say nothing. I be trying to tell them, or people that are close to you, they want to compare. Well,
Mm.
that's so and so that and this and that. And that's why I really want you to talk about that. I am literally in pain. Like it is
Yes.
real. I am strong. I run a business. I can do this and that.
Yeah.
I cry. I'm on my knees. It
Girl,
is
I cry every day.
You know what I'm
I
saying,
can.
Brittany? It's
I can.
painful. Like today. I was in full blown pain. I called everybody. I called my gang. I had to go outside the gang circle because everybody was busy. But it
I
was
want
it
to
was
share a
just a
tool.
moment
I
because
want to share a detachment tool.
yeah,
Okay.
but it's
Mm.
almost like what am I crying? I can't identify it because it's like you got the clinical stuff and you got the spiritual stuff, right? Then you got this
Same.
not having your faith, not really trusting in God's will. And I had all that. The enemy was coming for me. And I was just like, I was struggling because you say to yourself, why all the time? Like, why I'm a good person. Why did this person do that? But then the other side of your brain is saying, well, I know this person is sick. I know he's not well. I know he didn't do the work. And I can say that over and over again. But then I say to myself, why does he look like he's having so much fun?
Mm.
You know, why does he look like he's having all the fun and I'm not? But then I think it was Dr. Gettings and he's not having all the fun. And that's the way he copes. And then it goes back to when I said men move on, we get through. And so, but you got that like logic and the
Some.
grief, like kind of doing this, like in the beginning, the heart and the brain, they're fighting each other, you know? And so, Brittany, you understand, you said what? You cry. And what
Girl,
do you do? How are you? I mean,
I had a friend and he was a light. He took his life ooh, and he was the one who would help me through those days. And I always thought he was so strong.
wow.
And when I found out, I was in shock. I think I'm still in shock because he would always
So
say to
I'm
me,
sorry about your friend. When did this happen?
this was about a year and a half ago. And he was strong, like Marine, lived in California. I mean, just strong. And I would call him on days where I just was broken. He talked me out of so many dark holes. He talked me out of so many places where I said, I'm done. I'm done with this earth. I'm not doing it anymore. And he got me back. And to hear that he took his life, I mean, it was hard because he would say, Brittany, I just do one thing each day. Even if that's get up out of bed and go to the kitchen and make your cereal, just one thing.
Yeah.
And there were days where I was like, I can't. And I was like, you know what? And I would hear his voice and I would go and I'd take a walk. And then like something magical would happen on the walk. And like, the trees looked, fresher, whatever the case was. And I was just like, okay, I can do this. I can do tomorrow. And it's so funny how the universe works, but it's little stuff like that. Even if it's like, get up and today I'm just going to brush my teeth. I'm just going to take a bath, and you have to be gentle with yourself because I've come a long way. People ask me all the time, why are you single? I'm single because I don't trust myself yet. I'm not ready yet. That's why I'm single. And I love myself. I think I do, right? I'm still trying to figure it out, but I love myself enough to know that I'm not ready yet. So I need to put you here until I can get those boundaries, right? Like Kimberly is talking about. I can get those tools because I see very clearly now, ooh, red flag. And I still feel myself running towards it. And I'm like,
yeah,
ready yet. So I just fall back and I kind of just watch and I kind of heal every day. Brittany, go do yoga. Brittany, do a little real estate. Come home. What's that one thing you're going to do today? Is it, light some incense, take a bath? It's little steps every day and it's finding your tribe. I didn't have, both my parents are dead. I don't have anybody to call.
wow.
Yeah, and that's hard when you feel.
And then you lost your friend. And so
it's a lot, divorce, 2 kids, raising 2 kids on my own. And you know how it is, NFL players, NBA,
how old are your kids?
14 and 5.
Wow.
No child support, no help.
Wow.
Right? Girl, like stuff is real out here.
And I see you, Jane Doe, as someone who has dealt with mental health issues. This chat is very validating. I resonate a lot with having to call friends outside of my main circle because they're all busy. Thank you for sharing. But I was going to say, people are always quick to be like, I hear what you're saying, Brittany, but people are always quick to be like, you can be by yourself. You can get to know yourself. You can grow it. Well, girl, let me call you back. My husband's about to take me to dinner. You know what I'm saying? Well, girl, be strong being by yourself. You don't always be in another relationship. Oh, hold on for a minute. My boo just got here. We going dancing. You be like, wait a second. And it's like, I like being in relationships. I was freaking married. There was no crystal ball to tell me this shit was going to happen. So when it happened, it happened. So I got to deal with what happened, right? And so people are very quick to think, well, you should do this. You should do this. That's why I want to keep coming back to Francie and Dr. Gettings, because we can sit here all day and put our beliefs on people. We can put our logic on people. We can put our own walk and I'm this and you should be this and you should do that. But let's get back to what's really happening to us chemically. What's happening to the body? Because this grief, I mean, yes, I pray, I believe in God. I know God leads my life. Yes. Also, when I went into the hospital, I'm a believer, but I had serotonin slipping. My vitamin D was at a 6. It should have been at a 70. I mean, there are things in my body that was literally off balance, just like the same believers that believe God have high blood pressure. Do you not take your blood pressure medicine? So Jesus is going to fix it, or you take your blood pressure every day? Pastors leave church and go to dialysis center. Are they saying I'm gonna skip the dialysis center? Because no. Same COVID killed pastors who are believers, just like it killed everybody else. I mean, we are in a world where things happen to you. We can't escape it, and things are happening. So what the hell is happening to us when we're freaking in a heartbreak? What is happening?
Please give me a chance to give a tool before we get out there. Detachment tools.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, I was just going to say, as far as what's physically happening, all that dopamine and all of those feel-good hormones, when you detach, they basically go away. And not only do they go away, your body goes into stress mode. And so you start to make what's called a lot of cortisol. And cortisol damages a lot of things. And so when you're questioning, well, why am I crying? And why can't I sleep? And I'm not hungry. And, or even what you just described, like having that, which is difficult to get out of. I was always taught that death is the comparison. How does the saying go? Comparison is the death of joy. So when you're in a situation and someone is trying to uplift you, encourage you, but whatever their lifestyle, whatever chapter they're in, if you immediately compare yourself to them, be prepared to be upset, because it's a, once again, looking at something, and instead of being able to be in a place where you're happy for that person and you're happy for their situation, it leaves you with a sense of loss. Like, see, look, and it reinforces, look, I lost what I had, and it's another reminder.
Yeah.
And it's stressful within itself. I just want to say, as a psychiatrist, what we're talking about today and what people go through physiologically when it comes to heartbreak and loss, it leads to suicide and homicide.
Yeah.
And people who cannot detach oftentimes get themselves in destructive thought patterns that can lead to the destruction of themselves or to the person that they claim that they love. And that is a major problem. Most homicides occur between people who know each other, not strangers. Okay, so if that doesn't speak to brain chemistry and how it dictates our behavior and the decisions that we make in those moments, but to validate, yes, emotional pain in your brain is the same as physical pain. It's the same. And when you are in a state of stress, if you're not taking care of yourself, prepare not to feel better. If you're not sleeping, if you're not eating well, if you're not exercising, if you're not doing things that contribute to health and wellness, then yes, it's going to be that much harder. So I encourage a lot of people to adopt healthy lifestyle practices, even when they don't feel like it, even when they don't want to, even when your brain is telling you to sit and sulk and be in sadness. You have to do certain things to get yourself in a better state of health and to help your brain rewire itself. Because at the end
Yes.
of the day, how long did it take you to get in this relationship and be attached to this person? How long did it take you to develop this strong attachment? Well, then
Yeah.
let's not speed up the process of detaching and judge yourself harshly because that didn't happen overnight.
I like that. I like what you said it fast. You be saying a lot of stuff real fast. That's why I hope people take notes, because you be like, I be feeling like I'm at Dartmouth in a real lecture. You said it's like, give permission to yourself. Don't detach. Like when people say, just get over it. Like,
Correct. So,
no.
like, that's
Like friends say, get through
that I
it.
feel were like an epiphany for me with this conversation. I promise
Yeah.
you, I have never said this before.
Okay.
The detox is the first. That's your withdrawal, your craving. That speaks to the first stage of falling in love. Next, you have your detachment, right? That
Yeah.
takes a lot longer. And I said desensitization because we all know that emotional pain is real and you feel it. There are reasons why people say, I feel like I have my heart ripped out of my chest. I feel like I was
Yes.
slapped in the face, because your brain literally processes that like physical pain. It's literally trying to locate it somewhere on your body. Okay.
Yeah.
So that being said, those are your three things, and you have to be patient with yourself in that process. And I encourage all people, work with a professional to help you understand if unhealthy
Please.
relationships has become a pattern. If it's become a pattern, then you need to be looking at you, and you need to figure out, why am I choosing to attach to something that does not love me back and does not serve me?
Or continue.
Staying in relationships where you're insecure increases your risk of heart disease. If you want to know how relationships affect your health, it's not just about, oh, I broke up and now my heart is broken. What about when you stay in that crap and you keep dealing and you keep dealing and you keep dealing until you get dealt a hand you can't deal with, right? So it's a huge connection, and you have to understand it.
Dr. Ivy, Angie, get in here. You know, our shows be going by like lickety split. We lost James. Oh, what happened to James? He was having all kind of problems. Poor James. Dr. Ivy, our brain gang, who's going to come in and give us some brain balance. So, you know, you've been backstage, and I want you to add in your brain balance right now. And and it's perfect, because that's the heart and the brain that you're about to let us know. Okay, you're muted. We can't hear you. So we'll go to Angie with the brain buffet. You ready with your brain buffet?
I'm ready with the brain buffet if you guys are. I just want to say that I have been listening. I have been loving, and I completely understand, and I can relate to everything all of you have said. And I thank all of you for being so open and honest and coming to the table tonight and sharing all of your stories with everyone, because truly I'm sitting here and I'm going, yes, I understand that. Yes, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Dr.
And you're not crying out your mascara this week.
Oh my God, last week I was a complete disaster. So this week I was like, I'm going to keep it together. I'm going to keep it together. But truly, I'm sitting here. I feel like Dr. Gettings just like gave me like a mother talk. Like she was like, listen up, this is, you cannot do this anymore. And I'm thinking, Dr. Gettings, you're totally right. I understand completely what you're saying. But all of you, thank you so much for sharing everything that you guys have shared within your personal lives and your personal stories, because if you're helping me, you're helping every single person who's listening, and that is huge. The impact is amazing. So all of you,
give us the brain buffet while Dr. Ivy's trying to get it together. I'm going to be really sad if I don't miss it. So
my brain buffet tip of the day is to consume potassium-rich foods on a daily basis, because potassium is calming to the heart, and this was Heartache, Heartbreak week. So potassium it's good for your mood.
Sweet potato. I just had watermelon today. Is that why I felt better?
Well, watermelon is delicious. Watermelon is great too, but potassium-rich foods, sweet potatoes, the salmon, the avocados, the green leafy vegetables. I mean, everybody just thinks of bananas when we talk about potassium, but truly, bananas aren't even the richest source of potassium. I mean, you get so much more potassium from avocado than you do from a banana. But a banana is great too. But an avocado would be a much richer source of it. And we need 4,700 milligrams daily of potassium. And people don't even realize that we're not getting nearly enough from our diets on a daily basis. But if you were to consume more potassium-rich foods, you're going to be happier, and your heart is going to be happier, and it's going to thank you. You're going to be sleeping better, and it's just going to be overall better for your well-being. So
I love that. I'm gonna eat sweet potatoes, avocado, and watermelon for dinner, because I need a whole bunch of potassium in my body so I can get
we all do.
Dr. Ivy, did you get it together?
Well, can you hear me now?
Yes, honey. Give us a brain balance.
But I get so excited whenever I hear this show, because it is so real and it is so authentic. And as I was listening to all of these beautiful women, and beautiful you are, what came to me, Allison, that we have just told the world what the anatomy of a heartbreak is like and is all about. And the fact of the matter is, how do we find that brain balance? How do we find that brain healing? How do we retrain our brain to create a new story? And so the thought that came to me, and I always have to wait until I listen to the conversation before I say what I'm going to share, but I'm going to say, what about exploring your higher self to do the communicating for you? What if you could communicate with whoever it is that has broken your heart with their higher self, and have an opportunity? Now, this is some very highly spiritual concepts that I'm talking about. The higher self is really all about pouring that light into your brain, into your existence, and literally utilizing that electromagnetic energy that Dr. Gettings was talking about through chromotherapy or color therapy, through meditation, through decrees. You see, we have to really learn how to shift our brain, because I've said this many times: what sees, the eye or the brain? And the answer is the brain. So when you close your eyes, you can create new realities for your brain, and your brain will respond, and all of those hormones that Dr. Gettings was telling us will go into action. But this is a skill. This is something that you have to practice. So you have to create this opportunity through meditation, create these decrees. And before we close, I want to share a decree. But I'm getting into this thing, but you all keep on talking about what I've written about. So do I have a few minutes to read?
You got a good 30 seconds.
Oh,
hey, Jenny.
So that's not going to work. So what I will tell you is
No,
that
go ahead, do it. We always love your nuggets at the end. Come on, now
well,
it's a
you can speak.
podcast. We can go
I
forever.
just want to tell you about how I used this whole concept of communicating with my husband's higher self over
Wow.
20 years ago when we first got married. We got married now in we've been married almost 30 years now. Goodness gracious. So yes, 30 years. And he decided to just walk out one day because it was just too much stress or whatever. And I was just breathing and using the silence and all my meditation. Nothing got rid of that pain. But it came to me to ask for permission to speak to his higher self. And that higher self, and then I felt like I got that permission and I poured my heart out to his higher self. And then I will say one evening at 11 o'clock p.m., a knock on the door, and it was him. So I'll just leave it right there.
Ooh,
He heard me. Okay. So let's use those part of the brain that we haven't used. We only use what 10%.
But that other person got to have a higher vibration because I'm going to try. Let me see.
They can have a higher vibration or low vibration. We're talking about their higher self, not their lower self. We're saying connect with that spiritual part of whoever it is you need to talk to now. That's a skill.
Yeah,
but
I believe in that.
You always have to get permission. You don't step into people's space without that. But I'm talking about a silent spiritual prayer, approval. So when you do that, it's amazing how you can get that off of your chest. And you're telling your brain as if you are literally saying it to this person. And then you're creating that image of what you need. And so let's just do that. Neutralize your brain with your own thoughts. And I'll close with, I am light through Christ in me. Set my mind forever free. Violet fire forever shine deep within this mind of mine. God who gives my daily bread with violet fire. Fill my head till thy radiance heaven light makes my mind a mind of light.
Thank you. Thank you. So Dr. Gettings, give us a brain biology. We didn't pause for traffic control, which is okay because that was a good pause. Dr. Ivy gave us a good pause. So let's get it.
Okay. So to recap for tonight, for all of you who joined, I want to leave you with the brain biology nuggets. Remember that there's a part of your brain known as the caudate nucleus that is responsible for addictive behavior, or what we call the socially acceptable addiction, which is falling in love. Remember that our brain responds to oxytocin. Read about that hormone. It plays a major role in attachment. And lastly, remember that when you feel emotional pain, there's a reason why it's painful, right? It is targeting the same systems in the brain that process physical pain, which do include your thalamus. So look at that. And I want to just say this for people who I work with all the time, when they're going through a breakup, you've got the withdrawal. You need to get out. You need to do things for you. For depression, please, please, please see a mental health professional. Try to avoid rebound. Understand that demanding closure doesn't mean it's always going to happen. That oftentimes comes from within. Ruminating about a partner can be very normal, but try to hear and see those thoughts as a observer and not judge them. And even though we all want to have comfort in logic, sometimes we're not going to be able to have a reason that we can hold on to for why things maybe didn't work out. So I encourage someone to get beyond that need for a logical explanation for how their relationship did not turn out.
Thank you, Dr. Gettings. And I was going to call you Dr. Franzi because that's what you are, Dr. Franzi. Give us your final word. Then I'm going to go to our guests to give their final words and how to get in contact with them.
So since we are all in agreement and understand that the frontal lobe is shut down with severe emotional pain, you're going to need a systematic approach on a support system, which includes professionals and people that are non-judgmental and can hold space for you without trying to change, can meet you where you are.
I like that. Meet you where you are.
For the start.
Dr. Ivy is good at that with loving lashing. And I mean, Dr. Ivy is another one of my mentors, teachers, and I'm telling you, that night in the car when you said, I have to tell you something, but I'm saying this in love, really redirected me in that moment. And Dr. Gettys does it all day, every day. This is Dr. Gettys' favorite word, but why? And it makes you, even though she says it, it makes you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and try to make logic. But yeah, go ahead. What are you going to say, Dr. Ivy? I'm
I
pretty
don't
done.
know.
What you gonna say?
All I know is we need a new name for Love Lash.
Love lashing. It's like, I love you.
We need a
Get
new
it
name.
together.
We need a new name. I'll find. We'll figure
Love
it out.
licking.
No.
Oh, okay. I don't.
Off the rail.
It's not something. I don't know.
Y'all start with an L. Think about it. Final words, Brittany.
Oh, y'all find me on Instagram at Brittany Flatley Luxury Estates. Y'all send me an email at brittanyflatley@gmail.com. You know, ask me anything. I have a story probably for all of it. You know, I'm an open book. So thank you for
Thank you,
having me.
Brittany. And yeah, if you want to get in touch with Brittany, she said it really fast, but we can actually have your slide up and find out how we can get in touch with Brittany. That is Brittany Flatley, licensed real estate broker. You can find Brittany at, like she said, Brittany.Flatley at compass.com. And those are her numbers. Screenshot it, rewind the show. And thank you for being authentic and showing up here today and telling us your truth. Kimberly, what's your final words?
I just want to say that, you know, be kind to yourself when you're going through any kind of breakup and your heart is breaking. Make some spaciousness in your life so that you have some room to get through these things. And remember something that this is something I try to remember all the time is that when people do something, has very little to do with me. It has very much to do with them. So when someone leaves, it doesn't mean I'm not worthy. It means that they weren't worthy to be in my story. And so I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Kimberly. And to get in touch with Kimberly Nicole, director and founder of Women Empowering Women Support Groups,
Yes.
you can reach her at CODA, W-E-W, that's CODAWEW.org, or Next Step, WEW.org. That's Next Step, WEW.org. And I'm going to be joining that. I can't wait to be a part of that because I can keep growing my circle of help. So I just want to thank our guest today. I'm so sad that we missed James. He was having technical difficulties, but also to get in touch with Franzi, our brain gang, psychotherapist, life coach, and assistant producer. You can connect with Franzi at 708. Do you want people calling you? Okay, 708-304-3430. Of course, you can also go to thebraintruth.com. I guess we can put up James' slide. I don't know. Does he want people to get in touch with him? I don't know what happened to him. Get in touch with James. You can connect with James at 312-925-8768. Yeah, I mean, a good brother. I was so sad that he got booted off. I know he was having some technical issues, so we'll bring him back on the show where it's just me and James. He has a lot to say, and I like hearing from men. So with that being said, that's another one of our shows, Heartbreak, Brainache. I hope you guys were taking notes because I was taking notes, and I am getting closer to understanding this journey. I'm not saying I'm going to get up tomorrow and everything going to be, I'm going to be doing a jig or whatever, but at least it helps me know that I'm not alone and that there's something else, at play. And I hope that's what everybody feels. So I'm looking at people now, and I just want to talk to the friends and family of people who may know someone who's going through grief or heartbreak. Be gentle with them and check on them, call them. Just because you think somebody's strong has nothing to do with it. You heard Brittany talk about a friend who was strong and was there for her and tell her all this stuff, but it's not about strength, as you just learned. It's about something else going on. So just make sure we're okay. People are just snapping. Like, we talked last week about how the brain and so you just want to make sure that you're loving on everybody, loving it. How about just love on each other? just love on each other in a different way. Okay. So next week, we're still continuing. I think it's our last show that we are celebrating National Mental Health. I think we're going to round off the Mental Health Awareness Month with social anxiety to social butterfly. And as everybody knows, I suffer from social anxiety. I can't wait for the show because so many people don't understand what social anxiety means. And they're always like, oh my God, you're so sociable. No, baby. Tune in so you can learn about what social anxiety truly, truly means. Now, before I go, I want to do the brain bliss. We're going to go and ready ourselves for the brain bliss. But after that, I'm going to be showing a little clip of something that I want you guys to see because we talked about heartbreak to brainache. And as everyone saw me, I'm still a little emotional about it, but it's always context to my journey and to all of our journeys. So I'm going to show you a little bit of where I was on June 27th in 2020 and where I am today. Even though I'm not completely there, I still am just thankful to God that He used me in this assignment and I am where I am today. So let's ready ourselves for the brain bliss. So before we leave, we like to have a moment of what we call brain bliss. So let's prepare ourselves for a clearing of the brain, the body, and the soul. Take a deep breath in. Just remind yourself, I am a peaceful soul. I am a pure soul. I am capable. I desire to heal. And the power is right here within me. I am open to letting go of ego, anger, and attachment. I am open to forgiveness. I am okay. I am perfectly made. I desire mental, physical, and emotional awareness. I desire clarity, calm, and pure mindfulness. I am okay. I will receive love and give love freely. I am open to a deeper connection to Source. I trust in God's assignment and I will serve. I am okay. It already happened. So what I do now, I got to make it all count. So I'm faithful and I can get through it. I will make it and I won't break. I am love. I am love. Thank you, Brangels. Remember, repair, reclaim, and renew. And that's the brain truth. I'll see you next week. It's freaking June 27th, 2020, Saturday at 5:30. Anyway, I just wanted to record myself while I was in the hospital. They want to transfer me to a mental institution because I need medication. I just wanted to take a video of what mental illness looks like because I'm a sane person. When people do stuff to you and they hurt you and you don't deal with it, it will come back and it will come all out. Oh, don't let the devil in and all this stuff. We have to just trust in God. I trust in God. God is putting me through something so I can see better and know better. I won't make these mistakes anymore with people.
Good evening, Brangels. Good evening.
Welcome to another episode of The Brain Truth with Allison Jordan on the Brain Truth Radio and iHeartRadio station. What this show is my story. This is my journey to mental health and wellness.
But when I look in the mirror, I see a girl, beautifully broken, perfectly flawed. I don't even know how I made it this far. And I'm asking myself questions like, why did I do it? Why did this happen to me? Then I said, you can get through it. You just have to believe what I do now. Better make it all count. So why not me? I'm the perfect person to go through this storm. It won't break me, it won't kill me, I'll move on. And then I'll come out even better than before. And I'll never see this place anymore. Cause my faith is getting stronger every day. I'm removing everything that's in my way. And the fact that I survived another day makes me say, why not me? Why not me? Why? 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 One day I'm up, the next I'm down. Problems coming faster than I can count. Who can I run to? No one to talk to. Can somebody tell me what to do? Why did I do it? Why did this happen to me? You can get through it. You just have to believe what I do now. Gotta make it all count. So why not me? I'm the perfect person to go through this storm. It won't break me, it won't kill me, I'll move on. Then I'll come out even better than before. And I'll never see this place anymore.